Hello, it's Michelle, and welcome to my school schedules book tag. In my area, it is very close to the beginning of school, and of course the thing on most people's minds is, what is my schedule for school? Whether you're a teacher or a student, that is always one of the things you want to know right away. And that gave me an idea for a book tag. So, the idea is that you take the subjects listed below and you build yourself a school schedule. You can put as many subjects on there or as few as you would like because it's your schedule. You can do what you like. It's your tag. Also, you can double up on subjects. You can completely leave some out. Whatever you want to do with this tag is fine. I am going to discuss one book for each subject just to get the ball rolling. So my first period class on my school schedule is a language arts class, and so I'm going to talk about a book that incorporates reading or writing into the story. This subject made me think of The Queen of Water by Laura Riesel. And this is a story set in Ecuador. It is based on a true story about a young lady who was mistakenly turned into a slave. She was supposed to go do work for a family, but they consider her a slave, never let her visit home. They don't pay her. But they happen to be educators, and the young lady is very resilient and manages to, on the sly, teach herself to read and write and gather other information, and she uses that to better her future. It was just a beautiful story, and even more so because it was based on a true story. My second period class on my school schedule is math class. So I'm going to talk about a book that mentions mathematics in any form. And for this one, I chose Counting to D by Kate Scott. This was a book that I got a free digital advanced copy of in exchange for an honest review. And I adored this story. Anytime you have a young girl that is strong and smart, I think that's an excellent read for young people. In this case, the young lady has dyslexia, and reading is nearly impossible for her, but she totally excels in math. And one of my favorite scenes in the book, she is tutoring an athlete who's trying to bring up his math grade, and she is actually going through explaining how to solve this pretty complex formula. And I just was so amazed that I could still solve that formula even before I read the passage to make sure I was correct. And that just made me want to give kudos to my high school teachers. And we're not going to talk about how many years ago I was in those classes or how long I have retained that information. No, we're not going there. But I am very impressed, so kudos to my high school teachers. Next on my school schedule is a science class. So I'm going to discuss a book that includes biology, chemistry, physics, geology, or astronomy. So for me, I chose Andy Weir's book, The Martian. And this was a phenomenal book about a man who is stranded alone on the planet Mars. It's like the third mission that's gone to Mars, and there's an accident and he gets left behind. And there is so much science in the story of him trying to survive, and I just absolutely adored it. Next on my schedule is a social studies class. So this is a book that touches on history, psychology, economics, or political science. And I chose One Crazy Summer by Rita Williams Garcia for this. This story follows three young ladies who are between the ages of probably 5 and 12. And they live in Harlem with their grandmother and their father. And their mother is still living, but she is kind of a free spirit, artistic woman, and home life just did not work for her. She just doesn't have much of a maternal drive in her. So she has moved to San Francisco, but their father decides that they really need to know their mother. So he arranges for them to fly out to San Francisco and spend about a month with their mother. And it just happens that this is in San Francisco during the civil rights movement, and the Black Panthers are active, and there's a lot of tension in the area where they end up visiting. And it was really a nice insight into that time of U.S. history, which I really didn't know anything about. And by the end of the story, you're just absolutely in love with all three young ladies, and it's just very well written. It appears to be the first in a series, so I'd be anxious to see if a second book ever comes out. Next up on my school schedule is athletics or health, and so this is a book with a team sport, an individual sport, or a health-related issue as a fundamental element. So for this, I chose Dairy Queen by Catherine Gilbert Murdoch, and this follows DJ, who is in high school, and she is country strong. She's grown up on a dairy farm, and she plays sports. She especially loves basketball, but something possesses her to try out for the football team, and she makes it. And so the story that blooms from there is just amazing. The writing is phenomenal, and it's just such an enjoyable read. It is a trilogy. You can stop after the first book if you like, but I thought all three were worth the read. Next on my schedule is a fine arts class. So this is a book that references music, visual arts, theater, dance, etc. So I chose We Are the Goldens by Dana Reinhardt, and she is quickly becoming one of my favorite authors. I've read 2 books by her, and I have a couple others on my shelf yet to read. This story follows 2 girls in high school. They're sisters, and one of them is in an art class and is really enjoying it, and she enjoys it so much that she starts to have an affair with the art teacher, and they go on dates to art museums and things like that. So but it was just a wonderful story exploring the relationship of the sisters and how it changes over time. Really enjoyed that story. Next on my schedule is Home Economics. So this is a book that works in sewing, nutrition, cooking, personal finance, cleaning, home furnishing, child development, etc. You get the idea. For this, I chose To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. One of the most endearing things about this book to me, it was a cute read overall, but one of the things I enjoyed the most is although their mother had passed away, that household ran so smoothly. The oldest daughter had organized things so brilliantly and just kept it running. And when she went off to college, it was almost seamless for the middle daughter to keep it going. I just thought that was an excellent aspect of that story. And lastly on my schedule is an elective. Wouldn't we all like to have our electives at the end of the day and all of our core classes at the beginning? Unfortunately, we don't get to set our own schedules. But this is a book that is related to an elective subject or an extracurricular activity, such as yearbook, chess club, debate team, those things of that nature. For this, I chose Seeing Cinderella by Jenny Lundquist, because when I was in school, drama and theater were not a class, but they were an after-school activity, and I was highly involved in most of the drama productions at my high school all those years ago. I'm still not telling how many years. This story is a middle grade novel, and it follows a young lady who is taking a drama class, and her self-esteem is a little bit on the low side. And it turns out she needs glasses. She goes to the optometrist, and he doesn't have the glasses that she has picked out available right away. She's going to have to wait a couple of weeks for them to come in, but he does think it's important for her to start wearing glasses right away, so he gives her a pair to use in the meantime. And of course, they are horrific. Actually, ironically, right now, they would probably be really cool, but they're supposed to be horrific in this story. And it turns out they have a little bit of a magical power that allow you to see the thoughts of people around you. And it's just a really neat story about self-esteem, and how you see yourself affects how other people see you, which in turn affects how you see yourself. And it's just a really great message for middle grade aged young ladies. So that is my school schedule's book tag. I would like to tag Charlotte from Ramblings of an Elf Pyre, Kayla from Bookadoodles, Whitney from Witty Novels, Karina from Karina E., Sue from Sue Morrow, and Lindsay from Lindsay Ray. Thanks for watching, and happy reading.